Hey guys, Mill here with another video. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. We're on the road to 1K. What are the Knicks doing with Evan Fournier? It's mid-July and Fournier's still on the team. The Knicks are having a difficult time trying to find a good trade for him due to the fact that his value is probably the lowest it's ever been right now. He only played in 27 games this season before ultimately getting benched by coach Tom Thibodeau for a large portion of the season. Other teams and coaches are definitely taking into account the fact that Thibodeau wasn't able to utilize him this year, which can definitely be concerning in their eyes. In those 27 games, he averaged 6.1 points, 1.8 rebounds, and 1.3 assists on 33.7% from the field and 30% from the three-point line. His contract is just not acceptable for a bench warmer. He's getting paid nearly $19 million a year just to sit on the bench. So it's definitely important the Knicks try to offload his contract and find him a new home. He went from playing 80 games and almost averaging 30 minutes per game in the 2021-22 season to barely playing this season. But it was clear in the beginning of this season that his defense was struggling immensely, and when his shots aren't falling, there's honestly not much more to his game. Quentin Grimes proved to be a way better defender than Fournier, so eventually he earned that role as a starter. Not only was Fournier demoted from the starting lineup, he was wiped from the entire rotation. There was no room for minutes for him when most of the starters were playing 35 to 40 minutes per game, and when that 9-man rotation was implemented, he just was not needed anymore. It's honestly wild to me how he went from breaking a Knicks record to getting benched the next season. If you don't remember, in that 2021-22 season, he broke the record for most threes made in a season. He made 218 three-pointers passing John Starks. Honestly, during that season, he was a three-point machine, but it basically led us nowhere because we missed the playoffs. Speaking of his three-point shooting, I'd like to bring this question up to you guys. In the playoffs, we shot historically bad from the three-point line. Absolutely no one could get it going when we needed them to. Would you guys have wanted to see Fournier get minutes in the Miami Heat series? I'm not sure if it would have changed things drastically, but I don't think it would have hurt to try, especially by game 5. It was clear that our young players were stunted in that Miami Heat series. Quickly, Grimes, Obi Toppin, they were all shooting poorly, and I think I would have liked to see our veteran Fournier play some minutes. The same way that Miami Heat gave their veteran Kevin Love some minutes, and he was key down the stretch. Obviously, you guys know I'm not saying Fournier is Kevin Love, but they're both veterans and they both have experience playing in this league and in tough minutes. Now to get onto the trade rumors. Bleacher Report recently came out with an article that proposed a trade between the Detroit Pistons and the Knicks. Knicks would receive Bojan Bogdanovic, and the Pistons would get in return Evan Fournier and a first-round pick. I'm not a fan of this trade for a few reasons, and one of them is that I just don't think it makes sense. Bogdanovic just came off of his best season in the NBA. He averaged 22 points per game, and I just don't see if he would accept a bench role. With how successful his last season was, he would be deserving of a starter spot. And then we would have to push Grimes to the bench, which doesn't solve any of our bench issues or that backup 4 position. He's a great three-point shooter, but I don't think he fits in with the Knicks team right now, especially because you have to consider the fact that once Tibbs implements that 9-man rotation, who's getting pushed out of the rotation? Realistically, I don't think it would be a good move for his career to be the backup 4 behind Randall and average about 11 to 12 minutes per game. I also don't like the fact that we would have to give up a first-round pick for him. We would be giving away a first-round pick for a role player then. If we're going to give our first-round picks away, then I expect it for a more valuable player. There was also a rumored swap between the Knicks and the Spurs, where the Knicks would get Doug McDermott in exchange for Evan Fournier. You might recall that McDermott was on the Knicks in the 2017-18 season. He was a good shooter for us, and he did the best that he could, considering that it was a losing season and we didn't have the best roster. He is a smaller forward listed at 6'6". Again, that would be a very small lineup with him, Hart, Quickly, and DiVincenzo. If he were to join the Knicks, I don't see him getting very much valuable minutes, but he technically can play the 4 behind Randall. He does shoot 41% from 3, which is a good sign because, like I said in the playoffs, we struggled immensely, so it'd be nice to have more three-point shooting. Now, here's a trade proposition that was actually discussed between the Knicks and a few other teams. Per Michael Scott of Hoops Hype, he came out with an article that discussed a multi-team trade between the Suns, Knicks, and Pacers. He said the 3 teams had exploratory discussions where Cam Payne would have joined the Knicks, TJ McConnell would have joined the Suns, and Evan Fournier and draft compensation would go to the Pacers. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, why would we do this trade when we don't need another point guard? We already have Brunson, IQ, DiVincenzo, McBride, and even Hart. Well, in the article, Scotto goes on to state, had the trade come to fruition, the Knicks would have created a traded player exception of over $19 million. A trade exception essentially allows NBA teams over the salary cap to make trades. So I don't think campaign would be on the Knicks. I think that we're trading away Fournier to get back his salary, which we could use to trade for a bigger player if we wanted to. I don't necessarily think this is a bad trade for us. Like I said before, Fournier's value is very low, so I think if we could create a trade exception and get his salary back, we should try to do it. Realistically, if we trade another role play for him, like Doug McDermott, Bojan Bogdanovic, or Cam Payne, they're not going to get valuable minutes on this team. I don't see them fitting into the third string role that they would have. So this trade proposition isn't necessarily a bad thing, and this could help the Knicks if they're trying to make a big trade and get another player. I don't see Fournier being on this team next season or having any kind of role, so it's important for the Knicks to find him a new home. Let me know what you guys think of some of these trade rumors with Fournier.